Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this Board of Trustees Special Budget Workshop Meeting to order. It is April 29th, 7 o'clock, right here on Morton Street. Would you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, sure. Roll call then.
Okay. Bartholomew?
Here.
Edwards?
Here.
Fowler? Hart?
Here.
Poznanski? Here. Seidel?
Here.
President Milzon?
Here.
All right, one absent.
We have approval of the agenda at this time.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Hart.
Support.
Support by Bartholomew. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Public comments? Do we have anybody from the audience who wishes to comment on any of the agenda items this evening?
That would be you.
All right. Hearing none, we'll move on right on to new business. So tonight's budget workshop meeting, we were going over 4 funds: our cemetery fund, our cable fund, motor pool fund, and our OPEB fund. The last item on our agenda is the budget adoption process. We're going to talk about why we're going to do it a little bit differently this year than we've done in previous years under that topic. So I'm going to let Catherine Trapp sort of lead the discussion since she worked with our auditor Renee to put these budgets together.
Accountant Renee.
I'm sorry, yes.
No, that's okay.
Did I say auditor?
Yes.
Yes, our
All
accountant.
right, in front of you are different Excel spreadsheets than probably what you're used to seeing. These were worked on by me and the accountant Renee, and they were worked on today, so that's why you guys are just seeing them now. And then the proposed budget, you got a new sheet different from what was in the packet. It's on top of all the proposed Excel spreadsheets. So I can go through these line by line. If you have any questions, by all means, jump
Can I
in.
just interject one
Sure.
quick thing? Just so that you know, this is the Excel spreadsheet that our consultant James Vitrano had established several years ago. So it's being implemented in the office now, and this lets us project out, as you can see, multiple years out, and include some notes, and the calculations sort of follow through year by year. So you've not seen this Excel file before in this process.
So it's
Very
given the
nice.
previous year plus an additional 2 years.
Correct.
And it originated from who?
Our consultant, James Vitrano, he developed it a couple years ago when we first brought him in, but then it wasn't utilized under the former administration, but we brought him back because I thought it was a very useful tool to help us move forward and better plan out for the future, so. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, that's okay. I'm just gonna go through the line items and the budget numbers. If you have any questions, go ahead and stop me. Okay, so for grave openings, we have 20,000. Cemetery lot sale, we are down to bare minimums, so we're only at 5,000. Interest earned, we do not currently have any investments in cemetery funds. We don't have any donations. Miscellaneous revenue would be 6,000. Appropriation from prior year fund balance, we are still reviewing those when the appropriation numbers are coming in right now. Transfer from general funds, 30,000. Transfer from equipment motor pool fund is 25,000. Any questions so far? Okay, so that brings our revenue to 86,000. So into expenditures, salary for full-time employees is about 20,680. Salary for part-time employees, 15,360. Salary for overtime is 1,500, and that would be DPW, I believe. Employer Social Security is 2,885. Hospitalization and life insurance, 3,200. Pension contribution is 3,000. We are currently paying for 3 retirees that retired from the cemetery.
So is that with the Social Security, hospitalization, pension?
Well, the Social Security and hospitalization is also an allocation from when DPW does work in the cemetery.
Okay.
Part of their pay is
Because
taken
everyone
from our
that's
funds
on
also.
everyone that's on the payroll that we talked about previously is not full-time, so therefore have no
Correct.
benefits. Okay, so this
This
is all
is for
either DPW or
DPW.
carryover.
Or
Okay.
carryover, correct. Other fringe benefits, we're up to that 1,200. Office supplies, we took that out because that's gonna end up in the general fund. Operating supplies, $1,000. We're all, I think we're pretty good right there. Gasoline and oil, 200. Uniforms, again, it's at 600, 400 is allocated for DPW. Okay, so contracted services, $10,000 for tree services and foundations. We don't have a phone anymore. Public utilities, electric, 200. Gas, 700, because the gas is on during the winter so we don't freeze the backflow pipes. Repairs and maintenance, 500. Repairs and maintenance equipment, our one John Deere tractor does need new tires. Equipment rental, $12,000. Miscellaneous, 100. Capital outlay, we are projecting 2,000 for upcoming projects, which brings our expenditure to $85,625 with a net gain of $375, so we are in the black.
What's the,
Now, it looks like you've changed from full-time to part-time, but that's kind of a swap, an extra 5,000 in people.
What do you mean by change from full-time to
It's just,
part-time?
we were at 13 for full-time last year, now we're going to 29,000, and then part-time last year was 25, and that has been reduced, so we kind of flip-flopped.
Correct.
Part-time for full-time.
Because of the cemetery crew that we have this summer.
we don't have anybody full-time, right? They're done, they're 6 months, right?
No, they started last week.
Yeah,
The
but they,
new crew that we hired.
Right,
So
but they
there's
don't go
one
all year.
full-time. No, it's, right, it's a
No.
6-month allocation.
so is that considered full-time?
Well, there's still 40 hours.
Okay.
Seasonal.
all right.
Yes.
Yeah, they're seasonal, they're labeled as seasonal, full-time.
And then tree service, we've kind of doubled that because we need some work done that's from there.
Correct.
All right. And then we
There
don't
was a
have
board-
any, the cemetery board is gonna be convening and then maybe making some recommendations that they wanna do. We don't know what that is yet.
Correct.
Okay.
We know that the shed there needs shingles and gutters, so that's why we knew that one was there. But anything else, we're not really sure what they're gonna get together and propose. They're just really working on cleanup.
So is there anything in here for them to use, anything free for them to use? Or they would have to come and ask and we would?
What do you mean as far as?
It's
getting
free.
new
Assume
equipment
that
or-
the capital
Is there
outlay,
anything open for
Right.
them to use money-wise?
For the capital outlay, so
It's
there's,
capital outlay,
right.
I think.
Mhm.
that's what my assumption
There's
was.
$2,000 there that we sort of said that we were gonna do that. There's some, latitude to move some of the equipment rental. It just depends on what the DPW guys have to do, if they really need to rent a backhoe or, a piece of equipment to dig a grave or, chop down a tree. So this year, we've moved some of that funds from that equipment rental to cover other expenditures, like the purchase of the lawnmower and purchase of some property. There was, the previous clerk purchased property
out
out
of
of,
cable.
out of our cable fund, excuse me, okay.
You're jumping ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Okay,
So, the shingles, is that having somebody come in and do it for $2,000, or is that the kids that are working for us doing it and that's material?
Right now, we're looking at that as material.
How big is the shed?
Yeah.
But it's
I don't think it's
2,000.
slotting the whole 2,000 for that.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot
Oh,
of
okay.
$2,000 in here. You gotta buy some shingles, here's $400.
Right.
You gotta buy some tires for the lawnmower,
Okay.
here's another $50.
I just-
That's kind of
That's
the
just
way
one
I
of the
guess I would
things.
see
right,
it.
that's correct, yeah.
Right,
Rather than
yeah,
like,
sorry,
here's
we don't need
$2,000
anything as large as.
Shingles for
I
that.
just didn't know,
Lawnmower.
we were,
I'd roof it for that.
Me too.
Just making sure that it's there when we need it.
Maybe
If
you
we- if
guys-
That's something for the next
maybe you
12
guys
months.
should just roof it.
All right, that's enough.
Maybe we should.
The cemetery board
Got a ladder in
is
Well, okay.
looking for labor donations.
There you
At
go.
that price, you could
Hey,
do
I-
that.
Maybe find the time to give them a hand.
You could do that in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Is there any other
Save it for-
discussion or things that you would want to see moved around in the cemetery fund, or are we pretty good with that?
I'm good.
Is
Okay.
the 30 moved from general just to cover, basically?
Yes, we've historically always transferred in from the general fund because it does not raise enough revenues to support itself from the grave openings and from the sale of the property, because there aren't many open
Right, and we have no investments
that earn us any income.
that earn us any income to keep up the maintenance,
Not yet.
which, not yet, correct. Going forward, if new parcels are open, that would be, we would put that into a trust so we would get some kind of revenue back so we can continue. It's kind of a bummer that it hasn't been done like that the whole time, but going forward, when the time comes, we're gonna go that route. All right, cable?
Cable.
Okay. So looking in the yellow, franchise fee, 75,000. AT&T franchise fees, the public education grant fund money, 6,700. Interest earned on investments, 100. Brings our revenue to 81,800. And then we have cable services contract, 55,000. And that brings our, that's all we have in expenditures at this time. Which brings us down to income of 26,800. Whoops, that's my watch.
I suggested that we reduce those franchise fees from line 1. We did see a slight decrease in what we projected as revenue from previous years. I think there are less users now on cable, so we saw a drop. So I went ahead and suggested that we drop that down to 7,500. And then I think we're gonna sort of figure that we're gonna lose probably 10% of that each year just with the change in technology and, like I said, those users dropping off. So that's why we are projecting less in our franchise fees and our PEG fees for that matter.
You want 75,000.
Yes, 75,000. Did I say 100? Sorry.
It's okay.
How come that doesn't, in the 1920 projected, you have 67.5? What, I don't know what the difference is between these two columns, I guess.
Well, she's taking the, I'm not sure why the 1921, it should be 75 there.
Mhm.
I think she skipped one, now that I'm, look, the yellow one should be inserted with her years, I think are wrong at the top. Because the yellow one is the 1920,
Okay.
yeah.
67.5, 67.50, and the
Right.
54 would be the 22, 23.
Yes,
Okay, gotcha.
That makes
It's the
sense.
same on the other thing.
right, we just had her look at in those headers and it looks like it's,
So is it all,
the yellow one is the budget that we're looking for this fiscal year.
okay, and the
So-
1921 is not, they should not
The-
look the same.
Right, I'm thinking that the 1921 should be the 2021 and everything slide over one more,
Okay, yeah.
based on the subtractions of the 10% and the numbers dropping.
So all we're looking at is 75,000, 6,700, 100.
Okay,
Yeah,
yes.
there really isn't much out of the cable
All
fund.
right, so
All right, any other questions on cable? Oh, okay. Let's move on then to our motor pool fund. Okay,
All right, so, starting down with interfund rentals, major street, 19,500, this is, we're in revenue. Okay. Keep my line straight, interfund
what is
rentals,
this?
yes, local streets, 72,000. Equipment rental municipal, 10,000. Interfund rentals cemetery, 12,000. Interfund rentals sewer, 11,000. Excuse me, interfund rentals water, 32,000. Lease proceeds, 4,200. Sale of fixed assets, 550. And then transfer from the general fund, 100,000, which would bring our motor pool revenue to 200,000, 61, and 261,250.
what is interfund rental? What is the textbook definition of that?
So basically, we purchase vehicles and then you rent it back to the different departments that use it.
Okay.
So
And
that's
these
where those money.
fees are regulated by the state, and a schedule comes out every year, so we have to follow the fees as given by the state. All right. And we are going into expenditures. Salaries for full-time employees, 20,000. Salaries overtime is 500. Employers, social security, 1,800. Hospitalization and life insurance, 4,000. Pension contribution, 4,000. Other fringe benefits, 600. And we're going to operating supplies, 6,000. Gasoline and oil, 7,000. And then uniforms is not included, going on to the next page. Going down to insurance, 2,600. Telephone, 1,000. Repair and maintenance, 30,000. And capital outlay, 100,000. And transfer to the cemetery funds, 20,000. Then,
Thought we
going
said
down, principal sewer vac,
We did, it comes on, the other time comes on.
principal sewer vac, 54,614. Interest loan, I don't know what that EXP means on that line, 3,328. Department item 650, so comes to 57,942. And then transfer to retirement fund, 3,740. Transfer out control, 3,740, which brings our expenditure to 259,182, and we are at a gain of $2,068.
We own the principals, the sewer vac, right? So if that's,
The last payment.
Well, it's one more
Is that the
payment,
new one?
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but that's our vehicle then.
Yes. Mhm.
Sure.
To Randy's question, there's the 20,000 that comes out there, where does the other 10 come for the, because we did 30 for the cemetery fund?
Out of the general fund?
Probably.
Or out of
This
motor
is
pool?
cemetery.
Oh,
We're
it
not
says
general
motor-
fund.
Says transfer from general fund on the first page.
We don't have the general fund
You
in
don't
front of you
have
guys.
the
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at something different.
Oh, I thought I said.
How much was out of the motor pool for cemetery?
20.
20. Yep, and that's what we have right here. Transfer to cemetery fund, 20.
So you're talking about the transfer from general fund on the cemetery, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items down, where it says 30,000? Was that what you're questioning, Randy?
I was just the number 20 and I thought it was 30.
Oh.
Okay.
So, okay, I'm good, I guess. Do we have an employee in the motor pool? Is that what?
Again, it's our DPW workers
Okay,
and when they're fixing, doing maintenance.
so we dedicate,
Yep,
Yep.
again, a
So we
portion of
charge
the.
It has to
Yeah.
come out of that fund to pay their
Charge that
salaries.
department.
Any other questions or discussions regarding that? Motor pool fund, pretty easy.
These are the
There's
easy
still
ones.
$100,000 in the capital outlay. Tim has a huge wish list. $140,000 for a backhoe that he would like. He wants a new dually. He needs 2 new snow plows.
Can we just buy a bunch
And
of stuff?
I said, well, let's just start with 100,000 and we'll see where we're at when we do the general fund. So we just need
We
to
just plan,
probably
yeah.
plan. Our motor fleet is pretty old, with the exception of the 2 new ones that he
Yeah.
just got this year. So we need to somehow project out for those capital outlay purchases, but not all in one year. So,
Start saving for them.
right,
Yeah, I guess he needs to prioritize them.
yes. And I'm working on that with him, but that's what I told him. One, I wanted him to give me an inventory of what equipment we actually own at the DPW, because I don't have an overall list of, I know the big stuff, the leaf truck, right, but I don't know every little bit. So I'm
And how
asking him
old
to
it
give me
is.
an idea of age, right, what its longevity is, and then what it would need to be replaced at, so.
and do we necessarily have to replace with new? I mean, you can work with some of these excavating companies that turn their equipment over every 3 years and pick up something that's 3 years old instead of 20 years old,
That's a good point.
Possibly.
instead of,
Like a new back, you don't buy a new backhoe.
well, some of them, like, they go 3 years, 4 years, and then they write them off
Or
and then
we
they get a
can look
new
at
one.
municipal bids. see if
Good
they
deals
get
out there.
yourself.
Get them on eBay.
I won't work with one of our
I'm sure
local
they have
guys.
websites.
Right.
Or the mitten, see if they can go the mitten to some company.
All right, if there's no further discussion on motor pool fund, then we'll move over to our OPEB. This is the short and sweet one.
Okay, OPEB, short and sweet. So, transfer from general fund, $60,000. And then interest earned, is that for the trust fund we have?
Correct.
Okay, so interest earned, we're projecting on the trust fund that is to be opened, the 28,700 would be our revenue, 88,700. And then transfer to the OPEB trust fund would be the 60,000 and would leave us with a net income of 28,700,
So,
which is the potential interest.
yes. Megan, you brought up, I think, 2 meetings ago about the transfer of the 350,000. So I double checked with Sherry about getting that account open at MERS. We met with the representative. She's sort of put it on the fast track now to get that established so that that money can get put into that account to start earning
Yeah,
interest,
the sooner
as
the
well as opening up the other accounts. She's working with a lot of the other bankers and getting to know especially the government bank reps with them to establish who's got the best product for us to invest in. But at this point, I'm like, look, just put it in something, because it's just sitting there
Yeah.
earning us nothing right now,
You
so.
can move it, we can't take, she can move it to a
Right.
different bank at a different time.
Unless she's buying, bonds or something, which, is restricted under a time frame. But, so that 350 is hopefully happening soon.
Why are we looking at a net income of 28,700? Wouldn't we put that towards the OPEB debt?
That's where it's staying. Once the funds go into this OPEB trust account, we
Can't
can't
come
use
out.
them for anything other than to pay that liability. But we're projecting any earnings that we get from that investment gets us to that 40% funded status faster.
Right.
So we
Yes.
hope for more than 7%, but we have to show the revenue as coming in from that investment. And yes, it will just stay there and then accrue till we get our $10 million paid off.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard back from the states, I'm sending it back to the others.
I just checked the website last week, and it just still says it's, submitted, and I can view my submission, but
Should we take that as like?
there's
no-
nothing there.
Yeah, not hearing nothing is a good thing?
Yep,
Means
they
it's
certainly know how to
accepted?
contact us because they did twice, so.
They do publish
Right.
their agendas online. I was looking for agendas to see what agenda we are on.
To review them. I don't know the status of, everybody's that they're reviewing, but I did check, yeah, because I was curious too, like, come on, can we get somebody to look at this? Since they
'Cause then
gave
we
me a
could
3-week
use-
deadline to get it
Because
turned
they
back
could be
in.
using that right now. If they approved it, we could start implementing the plan with everything.
Well, I think, right, we don't have to hold off on the $350,000 transfer into that fund, because we owe that money regardless.
Oh, correct.
So we can get the investment account established and get that money in there, earning it, even if we have to revamp the corrective action plan according to a different time frame, or if they want to escalate that, but, so we're not waiting on that to get the fund established. We were waiting on the fund establishment for the board to approve those sources, and we did that a couple of months ago, and
No, I'm just
so.
saying, if they don't approve that and they want more, then it's gonna affect the rest
Oh,
of
right.
everything else.
That's true, that's true.
So it would've been nice if they,
Right, so we would have known we had to budget more money. Gotcha. All right, so those are the 4 funds that we're gonna take a look at tonight. Briefly, we want to talk about the budget adoption process. You should have gotten one in your packet that showed 4 funds with a negative on the motor pool fund of 1432. You can disregard that one, because the one that was here today was reflected the budgets that we went over today. We worked and moved some of those numbers around. So this one shows the cemetery at 375 and 26.8.
That's all good.
Yeah, no negatives.
Okay. Yes. So, overall, this is the budget, and you can see revenues, expenses, and then what the net or gain or loss should be. Okay, so do you want to go over,
Okay, also in your packet, under the budget adoption process, I have 2 samples, 1 draft, 1 sample. A draft of the public hearing notice for June. For an agreement that everything looks okay. More, this is what we're gonna be seeing in the paper for June. And then, the sample you are seeing is a department budget approval. As noted from our auditors in this year's audit, it was in your packet information back in December when we went through the audit review. It says the village should adopt the budgets at the activities department level. We noted that the village formally adopted the general fund and special revenue fund budgets at the line level, with what you guys adopted last year. Michigan Uniform Budget Manual recommends that the general fund and special revenue fund budgets be adopted at the activity or department level, which is the sample that I have in your packet. This allows each department head to monitor and be held responsible for their budget without undue burden to amend the budget anytime a line item exceeds budget. So this is this is what most municipalities are going to as far as budget adoptions. You will still see a line by line, The line by
we got
line
the
will
numbers.
still be reviewed at the June meeting, but ultimately, this is gonna be the one that's approved and submitted.
You have to have the line by line to even create this.
That is correct.
Right.
But going forward with just the department and the funds, every time one of these lines is out of place, we're not compliant with the state of what we submitted, so then therefore we could be doing budget amendments at almost every meeting.
Right.
So I just wanted to give this as a review, if you guys want to tell me your thoughts, tell me what you think going forward. Is this what we're gonna want to bring to June's meeting? Also to heed the advice given by the auditors and what we were also, I learned when I went to my clerk institute, and the recommendation from that CPA that conducted that budget class.
So officially for police, we'll have one number based on the breakouts that we've had.
Well, because you would have the fund and then we would have the
Right.
department, so
Yeah.
yes.
So then the department can move money within the breakout.
They're just
without-
responsible for, you know,
For
that
their
line.
double total.
They'll know what they're moving and they'll
Right.
know where their
Yep.
funds are coming from. But
No,
the
that
bottom
makes-
line, they're
that makes
held
sense.
That makes
responsible for
sense.
the bottom
Yep.
line.
Because if they spend over on some office supplies, I'm not gonna have to do an amendment and all that kind of stuff.
Correct, because the minute we're a penny
Right.
off, we have to do amendments.
So, this is great. In fact, haven't we done something like this in the past, too?
No, we have not, but it's been recommended before, and this is the best practices from the training seminars that we've gone to, that most municipalities will do it this way. That way, you're never, out of compliance and getting letters from the state of Michigan, which is what I got,
Marion used to do it.
the first corrective action plan, where I had to put that process in
remember
place
how
that we're
it
gonna
broke
review
down.
our budget
It
and
was
make
every-
amendments
Well,
on
I
a
remember
quarterly
going through
basis.
these,
Right.
but
We
then the
don't
final
have
one
to
that
do
we
that
actually
process
approved
as
was-
long as we're still
Yeah, I don't
under
know.
this bottom line, we're
Right.
good to go.
We paid for the auditor and we paid to send Catherine to school, and they both said, yeah, so I'm.
Right?
Right. But it's a little bit different than what we've seen
Well, it
before,
makes
so I
sense,
just
'cause-
wanted to
Right.
make sure that everybody understood, and if you have any questions, or if you have any concerns, to
So
voice it now, because this is the way we're gonna sort of target our actions over the next couple of weeks while we finalize these budgets, so.
That's how I
Because
do my
for us, the
budget
way
at work,
Marion
so
used
I'm
to do
good.
it, though.
Oh, okay.
I don't recall that, but I was only 1 year under her, so I,
I mean, we went through all these numbers, we
Right, you have
talked
to.
about,
You still have
but
to.
in the end, when we actually said yes on the budget, it shows a sheet like this.
So this
I
was
remember
in
the
our
whole
packets every
packet of
month
the
too?
budget with all the numbers.
We
and
had them all as
that.
back.
Or just the
No, this would just be-
itemized, or just the
Budget
regular
workshops?
budget we always see?
so what we would like to do, so this you will only see once. When we adopt our next fiscal year budget, this is what you'll have to work with. What we would like to do is take a look at our rules of procedures per Randy's request to not put so much documentation in the packet. Perhaps email out all of those documents, the line-by-line budget that you typically see, like the check register report, all the reports from Mark Clark and from the police and the DPW, all those that we spend so much time copying to give you copies each month. I think we can just be a lot more efficient and get you the information, either on a quarterly basis, if you want to see it reported as quarterly, or just in an email packet. So other than the council bills, you'll still see each month in your packet, because that's what you're gonna approve, the council bills, but you may not see a copy of this budget
Because it doesn't matter, right?
every month, right?
Right.
We're gonna internally monitor it to make sure that we're underneath this basic bottom line. Yes.
Unless there's a big red item on it for some reason, then that would come in front of us, but if
Right.
it's,
Right.
And how about like quarterly? Would quarterly make sense that it's available, not in our packet, but that we would get it maybe quarterly? I mean, is that something, because you're gonna be printing it out to look at it,
or you could just,
just,
Well,
you
we
know,
used to
and
not do
email
it
it?
at all. Then you requested it so that you could see, if I remember correctly, so you could see how you were doing month by month.
Right.
Are you gonna meet the goal at the end of the year kind of thing?
Yeah,
And so then we went to monthly, from never getting anything, we went to monthly, and now quarterly.
because I was, and the main thing I think if we were talking about was giving us any flags, because we
Right.
were over in some budgets, and all of a sudden at the end, it was
There'd be
like,
a big
oh, we're
surprise.
100,000 over on this, and it's like, we've been that way for 6 months, and none
Yeah,
of us
and
were.
none of us knew.
Right.
So Renee has added, if you look at what was in your packet, the last column, the percent of budget. So you've seen that on your in your packet each month that
Right.
says, you know, we're half done, so you should be at 50%, right? Or
Right.
75% as of last month. So you will still see this report just in email form, or
Yep.
if you want it printed on a quarterly basis, whatever this
No,
board
not printed on a
decides.
quarterly, but just see, I was even saying we didn't even need to see it each month, but even if you can get it to us emailed each month, I'd be good with
Pretty
that.
great.
You can email them
Well,
once.
and isn't there even an easier way, because you emailed and every one of us has a copy, is there a way that it's like a SharePoint or a OneNote where it's literally a file, we just open it up, look at it, none of us have it, it's in our system, it's on our server, whatever, the permissions, I don't know if we're that technical or not, but,
file.
yeah, a shared file, where you can just go in and
Right,
it'll show that it's locked because I'm viewing it, but I can't edit it, I can make any changes to it, I can just
right,
view
but you
it.
can see it.
And then if I want to print out a page or two, I can print out those pages. Or you can say, hey, go to page 6. This is the area that we have, and then that's the page you print and give to
Sure.
us. So I don't know if that's
Well,
something with our new
well,
system.
internally, let's talk about this, and we'll talk with Jason and see where he can establish that, yeah.
All right, because that's what we
A
do a lot.
Dropbox, a shared box, a Google Leak, whatever we want to do.
Yeah, something that's restricted
And then,
to,
right, then we'll
our-
bring forth a
We have it in the
suggestion,
office,
and then,
but not for you guys
at
yet.
our next council meeting, or in June, when we go over the rules of procedure, well, yeah.
and you can send an
It
email
doesn't
and go.
necessarily need to be private, though, I mean, it's public information.
No, but you don't, yeah, you could, I suppose, but,
You could, like, they would just.
yeah, I don't know what the rules are. I would start with us. I wouldn't want to have a
Right.
file that's open to the world. I
Play
don't
it
know what's
safe.
public and what's not. I mean,
All of it's public,
All of it.
all,
No.
all of it's public, so
Okay.
it's just a matter of the ease for it internally, for us to
Security.
Right.
get it
It's-
uploaded and
it's-
whatever we need to do.
it's replacing a hard printout that
Right.
we get. It's
All
not
those papers.
Yes,
hiding or restricting, it's replacing.
Right.
It's not an attempt to, it's frankly easy for us to go to and you to tell us what page in the file to look at, and that's what we go look at.
Right.
So,
yes.
I think that's wise.
Okay,
it's not even modern technology. That's,
Well, I know, but I mean,
all right.
for me,
So are we good with the budget
Yeah.
adoption process? Okay, then we'll just move on. The last couple agenda items was for public comments. We still have any public that wants to make a comment?
I was just,
Okay. Mr.
Gentleman-
Parker.
the gentleman in the
Mr.
front.
Parker.
Yes, no, I would just like to know with the cemetery budget, I know we talked about doing shingles and stuff, has there been anything to address the fence? It's been a problem for like a
right.
year.
The fence we looked at, I asked Chief Dan to actually see if there was a police report that was filed. There was a hit and run accident.
In the back,
Oh, in the back.
along the
Right.
high school
Oh, in high
property.
school.
Yes, well,
the one they keep
part of the
cutting.
problem is that
They're
we
not
keep
cutting it.
repairing it, right.
Somebody's cutting
We
it.
keep
No,
repairing the
it's-
fence and it still gets damaged from whoever's there doing the damage. So repairing it,
Is it because
they don't wanna
get
walk
through?
around, they wanna pull it up so that they can go under to get to school to save some steps.
Do you
is what we're
mind
thinking.
putting a gate there? Or would that not be good?
See, I don't, I mean, personally, I don't see it saving them any
It doesn't
steps
say-
to get to school, because, I mean, they're going around, yeah, I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, when you go and you look at it, you see the top binding wire has been stretched, and it seems like it's from the overgrowth,
Oh.
from binds and stuff, and some of it has been cut, and some of it's been replaced, but some of it, you can just see where the wires has been stretched, because it's a
So it
thin
just
wire they used
needs
initially
to be
to hold it up.
repaired.
All right.
Yeah, I think if you used a
Needs to be
heavier
fixed.
gauge aluminum,
We can have
Found
Casey and Jeff take a look at that. I wasn't familiar with that. I was talking about the black one
Up front, yeah,
on
this
St.
is-
Clair that got knocked
those
down.
are
So we're in the-
cemetery workers?
Right, we're in the process of getting that repaired. It's about a $4,000 repair, and we're
This
hoping
one
to turn
needs
it into
a-
our insurance.
Now, if it's a
But-
hit and run, our insurance would pick it up, is that correct?
What, right, if there was a police report, and I'm not sure that there was, so we'd have to take a peek at that. And I asked Chief Dan to look
Oh, we
at
have
it
to
for
have a
me.
police
Just a
report.
fence or a person?
I think somebody just maybe lost
Drove into
control
it.
and drove into it and knocked it down and then drove away. And there's no surveillance footage that I know of who it was, so.
I heard that's what happened.
Yeah, it's been down for quite a while, but I asked him to take a peek at it. But, yeah, we'll make a note and have that back fence at least looked at to see what can be done. I'm not aware of it. Anything else from public? All right, then I will make or hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
at
motion
Okay.
to adjourn.
7:35.
I'll support since Zach's not here.
Support by Bartholomew. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, nice and short and
That was
sweet.
the easy one.